Who are the new drug kings in Europe? What tricks have they used in the criminal world to get to the top of the drug trade on the continent? It didn't take long for the Albanian Mafia to rise through the ranks of organized crime and become the biggest player in Europe's drug market. This organized crime group is both dangerous and secretive. To protect their kingdom, they use both old world customs and modern violence. How did they get so powerful so fast? What does their rule mean for Europe's future? Hold on, because we're about to talk about the dark world of the Albanian Mafia, who are now the cocaine kings of Europe. Over the past decade, organized crime syndicates operating in Albania have become prominent participants in the international drug trafficking industry. These networks have revolutionized the cocaine trade on a global scale through the use of this method. In 2021, news began circulating that the value of the cocaine market in Europe had at long last surpassed that of its equivalent in the United States for the first time. The rise in European cocaine appetites has been primarily supplied by successful organized crime gangs drawn from Albanian populations all over the continent. Over the past 10 years, there has been a meteoric rise in the consumption of coke in Europe. The author, who works in London, was lured into the drug by several Albanians and ended up working with them. Albania is a relatively small country despite its size, with a population of slightly over 2 million people. It was ruled for decades by a brutal authoritarian communist regime, which has made it a significant player in organized crime on a global scale. The state has caused many security sectors that were prevalent during the communist regime to be obsolete, leading them to gravitate toward joining more informal organizations and networks or going into the private security provider industry. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Albania was beset by a series of wars and financial troubles, which led to an influx of armament into the nation and spurred thousands of refugees to seek asylum in other areas of Europe, North America, and farther afield. Criminal groups operating in Albania have been actively involved in the trade of illegal drugs for several decades, mostly partnering with Turkish networks that provide heroin along the route that goes from Afghanistan to Europe. In the subsequent decade of the 1990s, Albania's rise to prominence as a key hub for the production of cannabis throughout Europe has transformed the once desolate village into a marijuana market in Europe. The drug dealers had direct contact with farmers, and in time, more major actors emerged to be those with larger farms. The Albanian organized criminal groups have significantly changed the cocaine trade since the mid-2000s, setting them apart from other criminal organizations. They are the most notorious drug smugglers in the world and have successfully controlled the entire cocaine market. They built their own ties with drug cartels in South America, organizing transportation back to their European suppliers, who sold the narcotics for the highest possible profit. Albanians have made Colombia their permanent home, often sending people to check the purity of pharmaceuticals. Their combative nature has led to high-profile killings and arrests of Albanian drug traffickers in various countries including Ecuador, New York, and the Netherlands. These occurrences have received significant media attention, and the percentage of Albanians serving time in British prisons is at an all-time high, making them the foreign nationality with the biggest proportion of inmates. The European Union Criminal Agency conducted its largest investigation to date, directed directly at the Albanian organized crime organization known as Kompania Bello, which was carried out in Albania. This has led to many myths and misunderstandings regarding the operation of these groups, which have culminated in the current situation. The first hypothesis suggests that the Albanian Mafia is made up of a single, highly secretive organization. Instead of being hierarchically organized and rigidly disciplined like the Italian Mafia, they have networks that are more geographically based, plan-based, and family-focused. This is in contrast to the highly hierarchically organized and strictly disciplined organizations seen with the Italian Mafia. Another common myth is that organized crime syndicates in Albania are extremely vicious and brutal. If provoked, they will respond with physical force, taking prisoners with the aim of never being allowed to go free again. They will make it difficult for individuals to disappear in front of our eyes. The drug trade in Albania is a complex and violent industry, with criminal groups often resorting to violent methods to enforce contracts and terrify competitors. However, the perception that these groups are particularly vicious is rooted in misinformation and the belief that violent behavior is the key criterion for their success. In Albania, the capacity for entrepreneurialism, mobility, and global mobility are more prevalent than the potential for engaging in violent behavior. Some Albanian criminals, such as Helbanais in the UK, may not care about being perceived as violent murderers, but they have managed to establish business alliances with other criminal groups due to their long-standing involvement in the drug trade. This is because Albanian traffickers have been involved in the drug trade for quite some time, creating business alliances with other criminal groups. The mechanisms that keep the mafia networks running in Albania include imposing internal discipline rather than competing with rival groups for control of territory. Territorial control is rarely a factor in Albanian organized crime, and personnel can be kept under control anywhere in the world by issuing threats against their families in Albania. This allows them to operate without interference from their workforce, making it more likely that they will be successful in their business. The ability to buy and sell politicians and law enforcement personnel is just as crucial as the capability of buying and selling cocaine or heroin. The tightly interwoven nature of organized criminal groups in Albania with the ruling elite provides them with the greatest amount of power. For example, Saimir Tahiri, who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for misusing his office power, was found to have connections to a distant cousin who was found guilty of smuggling 3.8 tons of cocaine into Italy. Successful Albanian governments have tried hard to be a decent and complying partner in the EU and its entry into the EU. This is the fundamental issue that needs to be addressed in Albania. The illegal drug trade is a business, and the Albanian organized crime gangs have monopolized the market by being more effective and innovative business people than anyone else. By directly or indirectly causing the deaths of a large number of people along the route, they have dominated the market and continue to thrive in the face of international pressures. The Albanian Mafia has become very powerful in recent years and now controls the drug trade in Europe. Their business sense and willingness to be brutal have made them a powerful force. Now, the question is how deep their ties are and whether the police will ever be able to catch up. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. See you guys in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.